Welcome back, Timeline. I'm your host, Tania, and this is the most interesting people on my timeline, a series and archive dedicated to exploring the digital space and how it affects the lives and work of my most interesting online friends. If you're new here, welcome to the timeline. On this podcast, we talk about social media, fandoms, internet culture, but most importantly, we talk about it with interesting people in various fields who I've had the pleasure of engaging with online and IRL. Timeline, thank you so much for showing up and welcoming the podcast back after a really long hiatus. I am really excited to introduce you to more interesting people this season. But first of all, this is an immigrant-led podcast, and even though this season I'm talking about horror as a genre, there are very real horrors happening to our immigrant community in America. I urge y'all to educate yourself on these topics and find ways to uplift and protect our community. In the description box, I've linked a couple GoFundMes for families whose loved ones have been taken by ICE, as well as immigrant orgs doing amazing work, including the Undocumented Filmmakers Collective. Make sure to support immigrants, our families, and our art today and every day. This is the season premiere for our Summerween season, and if you don't know what Summerween is, it is the practice of celebrating Halloween in the summer, hence Summerween. It is particularly celebrated in July, and I am a lover of spooky things. I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is basically on Halloween, and it is my favorite time of year. So, of course, if I get to celebrate it more than once, I am going to. And luckily, I am not the only one. I have found 5 guests to talk about spooky things with this summer. And today's episode features filmmaker Yolo Martinez, who is the creator of the web series High Stakes. High Stakes follows monster hunter Marisol and vampire Citlali as they fall in love against all odds. As always, you can listen to all episodes anywhere you get your podcasts, as well as watch a visual version on Spotify and YouTube. You can find all show notes and links in the description box of whatever platform you're listening on, or at taniadiz.com/interestingpeople. Welcome to this episode of the most interesting people on my timeline. Let me introduce you to Yolo.
Hi everyone, my name is Yolo Martinez, and I'm a filmmaker here based in OC, and I'm just a lover of anything media related. Growing up low income, we didn't have enough money to like go to vacations and stuff, so honestly, most of my time was spent in the movie theaters, and since then, now I've made a career out of it, and honestly, I couldn't ask for anything better. I am an undocumented filmmaker, which is its own journey in and of itself. Like it's already hard enough being an artist. You can already imagine what it's like being an undocumented artist.
And like what's funny about that is like I feel like that was my upbringing too of like I got into filmmaking because when I was a kid I couldn't go anywhere. Like I was just watching TV and like movies or like being on the internet and
Yep.
that was me. I mean, nowadays I'm very lucky I get to, do more stuff, but as a kid like that's all you have. That's your window into the world.
Yeah, like my dad growing up, we had like the standard like family video camera and like he would just let me play with it. So that's where my like love for actually filmmaking grew because my mom is very much like a cinephile, but she likes watching them. She's not interested in making them by no means, but when my dad put that camera in my hand for the first time, I was like something clicked in my brain.
Do you have, because I also love to watch movies with my mom and stuff. Like, do you have like a favorite genre that you watch with her or like that she likes to watch too or that you like to watch?
Honestly, fantasy. Fantasy is where it's at. Like my love for like all things horror and fantasy comes from my mom and my grandma. They're both like very huge horror fans. Fun fact, I really didn't get into horror until I was like much, much older because when I was 8, I watched my first horror movie, which was the Silent Hill movie, and I ended up getting a fever for like a week because I was so scared.
Oh, okay. That's real. Dude, we didn't talk about this before, but I was like, I'm making connections because my grandma's here right now and I'm at my
Yeah.
parents' house. The other day they were talking about, oh, I used to listen to La Mano Peluda. My mom was like, I used to fall asleep and it would just be playing. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's where I get some of my creepier tendencies from. But it's so funny that like our love for the genre like comes from that, later on and watching with our families.
Yeah, no, truly. Honestly, anything that's like filmmaking related, it all comes back to my family. They're like such a huge inspiration for me as an artist. Because like my main goal, it's like when I'm making stuff, I'm not making stuff for like the critics or for the audience. Like I'm making stuff for my mom. Like if my mom doesn't like it, then like I I don't want to hear it.
That's funny because I kind of feel that way, but also my mom never likes anything that I make because it's a little too out there, and I'm like, but she is proud that I'm making something, even if
Yeah,
she's more of a rom-com. She loves Julia Roberts movies kind of vibes.
period.
I understand. I'm like, you were listening to La Mano Peluda too? Okay, all right, all right. But I love that your origin comes from your family, and I think that is like a common theme with a lot of immigrant filmmakers specifically. Could you take us on your journey since then? You know, that was kind of your origins, but how has it been? You know, I think you like recently graduated college too. So
Yeah.
what's your trajectory been like?
Oh my God, it's been so hard. I'm gonna be so honest with you, because like I said, I am undocumented, so I knew going like moving from college, I wasn't gonna have a lot of resources. So I think this was like my junior year. I had like a little like crisis where I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, and like all of my friends are like have plans. I don't have a plan, so I went and sought out like resources. At first, it was through my school. My school didn't really want to help me because I was like, hey, so like my trajectory is not going to be like my other fellow students. So like, please give me some resources. And they were like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll help. They didn't help. So I ended up finding Undocumented Filmmakers Collective, and honestly, it's been great since then. I've just been like working and pursuing this. That's honestly a huge part of the reason why High Stakes got to be was because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna have opportunities like my fellow classmates. I might as well just make it myself.
And we'll definitely we're gonna get into high stakes, but
Yeah,
um I was gonna say, you know, with filmmaking, that's not something or like a career path that a lot of like, you know, immigrant folks pursue. I think, I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot of stigma that and like survival instincts that I think that come into play. But that being said, a lot of the work is like freelance and it's very adaptable to not
yeah,
needing, you know, like those legal parameters and stuff. So that's very interesting that like yeah, it's kind of like a twofold thing where there's not a lot of resources creatively, period, but
yeah.
you can kind of like make the career. You can still make it happen through all these channels, but it's very interesting and yeah, I think that lack of resources was why UFC came about in the first place. So I
I'm
love
very
having you
grateful.
join in.
I'm very grateful because I grew up in a very much environments like that was like, okay, if no one's handing you things, like you go for it. Like straight up. Like the world's not gonna hand you things on a silver platter. Like you are a woman of color in a male dominated field. Like, mama, you gotta lock in. And I was just like so frustrated because in college, a lot of the resources were like towards people who wanted to go into law field or like the medical field. And I was like, respectfully, not all immigrants want to be doctors, lawyers, which is cool. Like, props to them, props to them, but like, unfortunately, that's not my path. And I just felt like there was a very much of a disconnect. And I was doing the right thing, trying to find resources and trying to be out there, but it just wasn't there. So, sometimes you just got to create your own path.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think it's slowly but surely changing because of like folks like us and stuff. And also like the immigration landscape is always changing. It gets
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, you kind of said you have to be really proactive in that you have
Yeah.
to kind of get ahead. You know, and that being said, like I think your high stakes and this web series is a great example of you doing that. So well, first, could you talk a little bit about what high stakes is and how it came about?
Yes, I would more so love to talk about it. So, High Stakes is a web series that follows Silali, a vampire, and Marisol, a monster hunter, who fall in love without them knowing each other's true identities. So, basically, in the first episode, we see the girls going to like a CVS, trying to buy a bleach pen to get rid of their stains, and then that's when they meet. And it's like it's kind of cute, it's kind of dorky. I just thought it would be really funny if like a monster hunter and a vampire were both buying bleach pens to get rid of their stains, but because they're like so enamored with each other, they don't realize they're each other's mortal enemies. And it came about through my college's screenwriting class. Like I just want to put out there, I am by no means a screenwriter. Like if anything, I'm more of the ideas girly. But because of this assignment, my professor was like, writes I was having so much trouble coming up with a concept, and he was just like, just write something you would want to see. And I was like, okay, I love vampires, I love rom-com. I needed something fun and silly in my life. Which is kind of ironic because I was going through like a horrific breakup. So to write a love story was kind of silly of me. It started off as like a little like college assignment, and then working with my main actress, Catherine Oregon, we had worked on another project for my junior thesis, and I didn't really enjoy that filmmaking process because I made a film about that said breakup. And I was like, oof, like this girl is extremely talented. Like let me give her a better role. And I took a long shot and I texted her. I was like, hey, if I produce this, will you be in it? And she was like, yeah, what the hell? Sure. And since then, and now we're here.
It's very fun when you find those collaborators that you're like, I know you're gonna be down for like any project. Like, I think of like filmmakers now where I'm like, oh, why do they always work with the same actors or the same producer or whatever? And I'm like, now I get it. Yeah, because it's like you build a really great working relationship that way. So it's great to see you doing that with this project. And you also like co-wrote this with Nix, who's also your producer, and could you talk about like how it's been or like what was it like producing that first episode?
Honestly, honestly, it was rough. It was rough. Like truly, everybody's like indie filmmaking, but they don't love to go into like what could potentially go wrong. Like anything and everything that could go wrong went wrong. First off, we didn't have any money, so that was, that's to be expected. Second of all, locations kept dropping. Crew kept dropping. Literally, we were supposed to film in a movie theater. The night before, one third of the crew drops out, and then we had to cancel. Like, it was just so, so, so stressful for no reason. And, but at the end of the day, I can just safely say we made it though. Like, I cannot complain. Like, looking back at it now, it was like a necessary evil to go through all that.
When I first heard about your project, I was like, "Oh, you're just putting it on YouTube like it's a web series." Like that's so ambitious and it kind of inspired me too. I was like, "We haven't been doing this." I mean, I'm a producer, so it's kind of like I've been grant writing and talking to all these
Yeah.
places and I'm like, it was refreshing and really invigorating to see somebody just be like, "We're just gonna make it and we're gonna
Yeah.
put it out there." Which is scary in itself, but y'all have found a lot of success. Y'all have over 35,000 views on that pilot episode on YouTube. And y'all just raised and got greenlit on your fundraiser for over
Yeah.
like $2,800, which in like indie filmmaking, specifically episodic, is a really huge feat. So like, how do you feel about that? What was that process like? Like after y'all put it out there, what did it feel like?
First off, it was like a huge sense of relief because it took like almost a year of my life. Like getting the first episode took a year of my life, and I was just like, "Oh my God, thank God it's finally over." And putting it out there, it's not that I was scared. I was just like, "Oof, I really hope that specifically for my actors, like I hope because it's like really hard to tell with them if they're like in it and they're not in it, but I'm like I hope they see the vision as I see the vision. And like once and I was like I'm going to be fully honest, I thought the first episode was going to get like max like 500 views. So when it passed like 20,000 views in less than 3 months, I was like I've hit a gold mine. I've hit a gold mine, and honestly it like ignited me to just like get things going because I'm very much a believer in like okay, I have a decent camera, I have a decent audio system. Like, truly, what is stopping us? Like, truly, what is stopping us, especially when our platform being YouTube, like, nothing and anything should not stop us.
We talked about this when we were having a conversation before, but like one of the inspirations for this too, or like that you saw and was inspired by was Undocumented Tales that was also
Yeah.
like an immigrant made web series. So like how do you, I guess, do you have any other like inspirations of where that came from, or like I don't know, how do you feel like being part of like that like collective of filmmakers who are doing these things and finding success online, which is I guess an untraditional platform through like for indie stuff.
Yeah, honestly, Armando Ibanez came to my college and had a little talk about Undocumented Tales, and he was talking about how, like, difficult it was to get the first season off the ground. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I still wanted to do high stakes because, like, I was just like, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and like, um, you know, coming from film school, you kind of are trained to like put out things of a certain quality. So it was kind of just like, oh, I don't have the resources to make it like cinematic. But then he came to my school and then he showed us the first episode and he's like, yeah, I shot this on my phone and I got like a $500 recorder and made the first episode and like it blew up. And I was like, oh my God, he's so right. Like truly what is stopping me from just like getting my camera. I had a decent camera at the time. I was like, I have a decent camera. I have decent audio equipment. N- like at that point, him coming to my school was like kind of just like, truly, I have no excuses. I have no excuses, and like he was able to find success. As much as untraditional as it may be, success has been found. So definitely, that definitely inspired me to just like go out and do stuff.
That reminds me of that, like it's like that quote that's like it might not be perfect, but it's done, and that is so much like more valuable is to just get it out there because people will find it. And I think as filmmakers we're like, oh, the tech specs and it needs to look like this, but it's like the people just like if there's a good story, people are gonna watch it, and they're
Yeah.
gonna look past that. And so like my next question is kind of like in terms of like web series and like more genre in general. Like you talked about this too. There were other web series that you used to watch on YouTube as a kid. How did that kind of like inspire you going into work for high stakes too?
So growing up, I used to watch this web series called Carmilla. It's on Kinda TV. You can probably still find it. They ended up making a feature out of it, so it was like highly successful. But I just like after watching that, I was like, ooh, I knew that I wanted to make something. But then again, this was during the time where YouTube was like popping off and like YouTube was just like handing money to make shows. So, I just got into that and I just knew that I wanted to work in TV. I didn't know that I was going to be doing like YouTube series, but I'm glad it is because the flexibility is amazing.
Yeah, and I think I said this. I was like, "Oh, YouTube is like an untraditional platform," but I'm like, now I'm thinking back on it. I'm like, it's actually not, especially for
Oh.
web series, because we were talking like Awesomeness TV is also something that we used to watch, and they became a whole production company
Yeah,
making.
I mean Cobra Kai started on YouTube,
Yeah,
on YouTube
yeah,
Red. Yeah.
yeah. Now they're still making series, and like people are still watching them. So I'm like, maybe it's like not quote unquote traditional, but it is like where a lot of people do find success. And like you said, it's very flexible. I get industry brain sometimes where
Yeah.
oh everyone's like, oh, TV is like horrible right now and the industry. I'm like, on YouTube it's popping off. The indie space,
Yeah.
like people are doing stuff that you're not paying attention is different. But I love to see that and that's where it comes from. And I think that's also why I started this podcast of like the internet is like the accessibility like hub, honestly.
Truly. I mean, I don't think I fear that a lot of filmmakers don't take advantage of like YouTube and like TikTok. Like, yeah, it's fun to make fun of like verticals and stuff like that, but people are seeing them. So it's like the jokes kind of are on us because like we're unwilling to like, mold ourselves to what's popping off.
I want to talk more about like vampires and horror and in high stakes like I think it's such a fun it's technically horror but it's so funny also like it has its like funniest moments and we were talking about this horror comedy kind of vibe. Can you talk about like what you think that relationship between comedy and horror is and if you have any like examples or like favorite films that kind of dive into that or touch into that?
I think for me, I started seeing the connection between horror and comedy was like I said, I got into horror pretty late in my life only because I was scared as an 8-year-old. And I started watching like the Child's Play, like Chucky movies, and watching it as a grown adult, I was like, why were children so scared of this? This is like so funny. Like dude was like fighting with a doll. Like truly, dude was fighting with a doll. And I don't know, just since then I'm like, if you like think about it through like a comedic lens, a lot of horror movies are like so funny. Like, and it's so stupid. Like, logic does not exist in horror movies.
And it also has to do a lot with like I guess physicality in the acting because like if you watch Chucky and you just see him fighting the doll, it's hilarious. Like the doll's just like oh, like grabbing onto him or whatever. Or like I was watching Suspiria recently, like the 77 version, and there's a scene where like the killer's trying to like unlock the door. I'm like, girl could have kept the door locked. Like, why is this taking so
Like, truly, the
long?
way that logic does not work in horror movies is insane. Like, I think I'm trying to think of the last horror movie I was afraid of. I can't. Like, I watched Barbarian in theaters and I was just like cracking the hell up because like it was truly so unserious. Spoilers who haven't seen Barbarian, but when she comes out and just starts feeding them, I was like, what the hell?
Another scene that reminds me of is like in It, where the clown just starts dancing. I'm like, this is supposed to be like this hype, like high climax, scary part. I'm like, I'm dying laughing at his little choreography right now.
Yeah, or so like I think the best example for me is like Megan, where I Megan is so fucking funny. Like I just think that they played into it that like the concept in and of itself is so stupid because it's like just turn her off. Like truly, turn her off. Turn off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and I was gonna talk about or I talked about it with another one of the guests where she was telling me like it's because horror and comedy are both very physical, reactive genres. So it just kind of makes sense that sometimes they'll just bleed into each other. Like horror, like they're gonna make you like scream or whatever, but then there's like that comedic element too. And another thing that this reminds me of is like Ma. Like now that it's like such a meme. I was dying laughing at Ma, but I'd be like, I hate jump scares, but I'm still watching them.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, and then there'll be like a jump scare. I'm like, ah, so I'm like, it's such a whiplash, but it's fun, you know?
It's so fun. I think when you take horror way too seriously, that's when it becomes really funny.
I'm really excited about Ma too, by the way. We just memed it so
Oh,
hard.
me too. Megan too?
Megan
I'm gonna be
2.0, I was like,
sad.
yes, yes. Like I was like, why is Chappell Roan in this teaser trailer? But whatever, it
What the
worked.
hell, sure.
So, I mean, the theme of this season was like Summerween, like scary but summer. And Summerween actually comes from this episode. It might come from earlier, but there's this episode of Gravity Falls where it's like
Yes.
it's Summerween. And I love that. I was like, yes. So, what are your thoughts about a scary summer and like why do you think that that is such like a great combination outside of like Halloween and like fall time?
I don't know. That's a great question. I did watch that episode of Gravity Falls. Huge Gravity Falls fan. I just like now thinking about it, I just think like the camp or maybe it's because everyone's just outside that makes it just so scary. And I don't know if this is true or not, but when the Night Stalker was like around, the reason he was able to like commit so many crimes is because like people kept left leaving their windows open because it was summer. So I guess it just like invites more devious activity because people are just like so off guard. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite like summer slasher or like I think cryptids are also very big. I think in Summerween also because of like Gravity
Yeah.
Falls and stuff. Do you have a favorite like piece of media that falls within that?
This was more recent because like since working in the film industry, I don't watch a lot of movies anymore because I'm like, oh, I can't enjoy it. But probably like Maxine. I thought that was like a fun little summer movie. Like it was kind of bad, but it was good. I just love like corny's 80s slashers because like it just looks so the special effects go crazy.
And that's something I've noticed. Like the 80s are so big, specifically in like summer horror of like
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm watching specifically like it was like this third season of Stranger Things or whatever, and then because they were also doing it at the same time, and those are very similar. I don't know why it's the 80s, but I love it.
No,
Like
yeah, I'm not complaining, but I'm just like it's such an interesting way to like connect those two. Like what was going on in the 80s that just like screams horror.
exactly. I think I don't know if I love it, but I like love watching like Scream and like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they're all very like also teen focused. Like, oh, it's because teens are out of school. Like this is when they have the most time to do stuff, like be killed. Like
Yeah. Or like American Horror Story, the one where they're like at a summer camp. That one's also kind of silly. Honestly, just American Horror Story in general is like hilarious.
Yeah. I think that what also makes it really fun is that horror lends itself to be really theatrical. So again, like
Yeah.
when I was watching Suspiria, I was like, we need more of this. I need this ridiculous like kill scene. Like this is so melodramatic. Like I love this. Do you what like I mean when you're working on high stakes, do you also kind of like build that in? Because y'all have a lot of stunts and like choreography. Like what's it like with that theatrics in within horror?
Like, I wish I had the resources to make it more dramatic because I love working with fake blood. Like, I make my own fake blood, so I would love some crazy ass, like, not just stunts, but like explosions of blood and stuff. Like, I want some Carrie level type shit. But I just think blood is just so fun. Like, just something about, like, I don't, like, something about women covered in blood. I'm just like, that is cinematic as hell.
I love that scene in Carrie. I love like in The Shining. I know this one's not summer, but The Shining when like all the blood comes, I'm like, this is cinema. This is great. I love this.
Yeah, like my mom was like, because I don't know where we were. She was like, you know what would be so cool for high stakes if it started raining blood? And I was like, Mom, Mom, respectfully, I don't have blood raining money. Like, I don't know how I would pull that off.
Wait, how do you make your own blood? What is that like?
So it's basically just a combination of like corn syrup, cornstarch, and water, and then you just like dilute it to make it the consistency you want. Where my blood differs is the pigment, because I do get my pigments from Mexico.
Okay, okay. The pigments are better on it. Like get them from there.
Yeah, no, they're just more concentrated. I don't know what it is, but I also like to keep my blood edible because like if it is going near the actor's face, like I would love for them to not be poisoned or have like toxic stuff in their eye.
You know, with blood, you know, vampires, I think the vampire genre, especially right now, I mean,
Top
Sinners is
off. Yeah.
like the best one right now. So I wanted to ask, like, what do you think of like people are saying the rise of vampire media is always a recession indicator. And I'm like, well,
Well,
so be
yes,
it.
because
So be it.
Twilight came out in what, like 2008?
Yeah. I'm like, so be it, honestly. So be
What
it.
the hell, sure. I personally am loving this like vampire resurgence because I like if out of all of the fantasy genre, I think like vampires and werewolves have always been my favorite. I just think honestly it's because of the blood and how like violent, not violent, but like how like messy it is. I just love it. Honestly, I watched Sinners and I was like, thank God. Thank God people are doing this. And I just think that like Sinners has opened the doors to like include people of color within these stories, which is another reason why High Stakes for me I wanted to make it because like, you know, growing up looking how I do, I didn't see much representation. So like seeing stuff like Sinners is honestly amazing.
Yeah, I also really love the messiness of the vampire genre. Um, with like the blood and again, theatrics. It's theatrics.
Yes.
Even Twilight, like that final scene, like they're messy. They're messy. Like,
You know what I realized about rewatching Twilight? They don't have fangs.
yeah, I guess I never really thought about it. You always kind of like see those fangs like once like the actors have them in it, but I'm like, yeah, you really don't notice them in Twilight.
Yeah, they don't have them.
Time to rewatch it. Like now I have to rewatch Twilight. It's
Yeah,
oh no.
and there's hardly any blood in it.
Yeah, it's like it's only like those last scenes that they do it, and they're pretty memorable. Like the birthing scene, I'm like, this is hilarious. It was kind of funny.
When she's like breaking her bones and stuff, I'm like, okay, girl, it's not that deep.
When I was in high school and even a little in college, I used to rewatch Twilight and live tweet it, and it was the best thing I would do every year. It was like and every year I would have a new take. Like there's some dense movies if you really look at them.
Yeah, no, I think like growing up, like watching Twilight as an adult is kind of like crazy because like what do you mean? A literal child was in between like a treaty war.
Yeah, a literal all-out war. And it took place with, I think the whole series spans like 2 years or something. Or like it was like little amount of time.
Crazy, crazy work. No, yeah, I just like think reading between the subtext between like certain vampire media is so interesting because I'm like, is this a euphemism for something else?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Like Nosferatu brought that up for me because when it came out, I like watched the first like the original
Yeah,
Nosferatu and I was like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? It's like a movie from the 20s, like I understand. But then when I watched like Nosferatu where they're more deliberate on like her sexuality
yeah.
being a part of this and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, exact like you know what? I'm not one for remakes, but this one kind of like I like this one."
The cinematography was great. However, again, it's one of those things where I was at the movie theater watching it because it was just so unserious.
Yeah, I was like, why are they having sex right now? What the heck? Like, what?
Why is he naked?
Yeah.
I made the terrible mistake of bringing my 13-year-old brother to see it. And that was like that made it 10 times more funnier because he was just like confused the entire time because he was like, why is he naked? And like that in that one scene, spoilers, in that one scene where I think they're taking someone to like be sacrificed and she's like also naked. He was just like, why are so many people naked in this movie?
Yeah, like you said, like it's like serious but unserious, and I think that that's what makes it work, honestly.
Yeah.
So now I kind of want to, get a little bit more into internet lore, right?
Yeah.
So this segment is called Back in Timeline, and I would love for you to share. It could be a personal or just like general internet memory or era that you really love.
The one that's coming up for me, I think it's like Dramageddon when that whole thing happened, like the Shane Dawson documentary era. Like honestly, like 2014 to 2016 YouTube, peak YouTube.
I remember where were you when Dramageddon dropped? Like I remember like where I was, and I was
I
like.
was literally I was like grocery shopping with my parents when that dropped.
Mhm. And for those of you the listeners that don't know what Dramageddon is, could you give a little bit of a rundown of what it is?
Oof, do we have like 4 hours? Um, so basically Dramageddon was this like internet drama that happened between like makeup artist James Charles and Tati Westbrook, another YouTube makeup artist, and somehow Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson were involved. So basically what had happened, it's so stupid. Like now that I'm thinking about it, like the whole reason this happened was over like hair care vitamins. Like basically James Charles was best friends with Tati Westbrook. Tati Westbrook is an owner and founder of a hair care supplement. James Charles that year wanted to go to Coachella. I don't know what happened, but somehow he had to contact her rival brand, Sugar Care Hair, and was like, "Hey, give me Coachella passes." And they were like, "What the hell, sure." So he starts promoting that. Tati Westbrook gets mad. Um, she puts out this whole like almost hour-long video being like, James Charles is a terrible person because this, and this. Jeffree Star also starts like adding flame to adding flame to the fire. Shane Dawson somehow gets involved because he was just like in between. He was like the middleman for a lot of it. Honestly, it just became messy for no reason.
And I remember like there was Dramageddon and then there was Dramageddon 2.0 and I was seeded for both. We're like 2.0 was like when Tati Westbrook came out with another like hour-long video that was like, I know I called out James Charles, but it was because Jeffree Star
Yes.
and Shane Dawson made me do this. And I was like, this is horrible people fighting each other. Like everyone in this
No,
is so messy. I love it.
no, truly. I was like at that point, I was like, I don't know who to believe. Like I truly don't know who to believe, and I love it because like it's doesn't matter. Truly, none of this matters.
And it started like this snowball of like after like makeup artists being like, this was the downfall of makeup YouTube, in my opinion.
Yes.
Everybody started getting canceled after that. There was this expose, and they were all exposing each other. Like,
Like they did that for what? Also, that era of YouTube when it was just like apology video after apology video. Like what was that about?
and they were apologizing for the like. either the smallest things or like the most heinous things. I'm like, you're apologizing for how many racist tweets? Like, what the, like, what? And yeah, and I'm just like, I thought y'all were doing makeup. Where's the makeup?
No, truly. I think Brett Rock said it best on one of his podcasts where he's like, at a certain point, it stopped being about the makeup.
And I will say though, I am very appreciative of all the great sound bites that came out of this. We were talking about it, like we quote that video to this day. Like,
And you did it at my birthday dinner.
time
And
and
you
place, time
time
and
and place.
place. Like, it was great. I thank you for sharing that timeline memory. I fond memories for me. Had a great
Up.
time.
Oh my God. I didn't have Twitter at the time, but I just know Twitter went absolutely insane.
And I guess, looking back on things, in your own use of the internet, do you have a background story on any of your screen names that you had or even when you were a kid?
Oh my God. I was very much a victim to like the kawaii dinosaur type beat. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So like one of my screen names, I can't remember for which platform. It was like yolosaurusrex.
It was the roar means I love you, a dinosaur.
Yeah. Ugh.
Cute, cute.
Cringe.
I was finding like I sometimes I like go through like my Facebook especially, but I've always found the memes of like I gave you a cookie or like I made you a cookie, but I eat it. Like it was like the cringiest thing, but in the moment I was like, this is so cute. This is Shakespeare of my time.
No, I was like, this is the epitome of showing someone you love them.
I've been thinking about this recently, but like with screen names, I have a 14-year-old sister, so I've like look at how she's on the internet and I realized like dang, we took all the good screen names or like all like the funny ones are taken because now you can't even do your name. You have to add a dot underscore
Yeah.
123 to like even for your own name. So I just always love asking people like, "Oh, what were your screen names?" You know?
Yeah. I've worked so hard to curate this like mysterious personality, but it's really hard to be mysterious when you had a screen when someone at some point knew you as Yolosaurus Rex on a platform.
Another segment that I like to do is, I like to introduce people to people I think are interesting online. But do you have anyone that's interesting on your timeline that you want to share?
Yes. Oh my God. There's this guy on TikTok. He's like an Irish woodworker. I his let me find his name, but I just love watching his videos because I'm just like, oh my God, what is his name? He just like makes stuff with wood, and he's just Irish, and it's like sick. This guy, I don't know. Oof, you can't see.
Oh, Pine of Plain, or yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, he just like makes stuff out of wood, and I just like love to watch him. It's just like so relaxing because he's just like, here, I'm just here building stuff with my hands. And I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's a nice break from the brain rot.
I love seeing people with like the special interest because my special interest is other people's special interest. So
Yeah.
if you like this woodworking, I'm like, heck yeah, like hell yeah. There's this guy, speaking of wood, like there's this guy who makes ice cream out of trees and then he eat like out of like the flowers or whatever, he turns it into ice cream and then he eats it out of a bowl and spoon that he makes out of the wood from that tree. Everyone
Oh, I
is
think I have seen them. I think I have seen him. Oh my God. And he'll just like make like plates and stuff and then just eat out of them.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how you got to this. I'm so glad you did though. I love watching this because he made one out of the trees that like smelled really bad and it tasted really bad. It was like the Bradford pear trees that smelled
Yeah.
horrible. He made ice cream out of that and also ate that. And I was like, you're using your woodworking skill for something so unserious and I love it. I love this.
Or like that guy, I don't know if you've seen this guy, but he'll like make ice cream on his construction site.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, there's this dude that just like makes random ice cream flavors on a construction site. He'll like use construction tools. He's like putting my ice cream, and he'll like make the craziest flavor. Like he made one out of like the red Mountain Dew. like it was just like so unserious. Or honestly, my favorite ones, I don't know the creators' names, but the ones that just be cooking in the woods, I love watching those.
Yes. And now there's more of them, but there was that one guy that started it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, whenever someone's in the woods, I'm like, I'm watching. What are you doing in there?
Unfortunately, I will be seated.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing in there? What are you gonna do now?
Or or unfortunately, he's no longer on the internet, but Outdoor Boys, I don't know if you know who that is.
No, who are outdoor boys?
Okay, so it's basically just like a dad who just like goes camping. His name is yeah, no, it's like crazy. He be cooking in the woods and he shows like him just like camping and like he does like extreme camping. He got too famous. That's why he had to stop.
They were finding him in the woods. He had to let it
Yeah,
go.
like it's this guy. Oh my God. I just like love watching his videos. He just shows like his process in extreme camping and I'm like, "You know what? Hell yeah."
Do you have other like folks that you like to watch or other interesting people on your timeline?
Yes. I don't know if you know them, but like the Las Alucines, I love watching them.
I love them so much.
They're
I love
so
their podcast.
unserious.
And I love that they're like, I mean, they're pretty, Mexico has a lot of podcasts, but like they're becoming very mainstream and they're like one of the top Spotify podcasts too. So I love listening to them.
Oh, I love watching this like the señora, like she does like recipes on TikTok and it's like the sweetest thing ever. She's just like I'm just cooking for my nietos and I'm like, "Oh my God." Oh,
Have you seen the lady where like she also does recipes, but she makes like her son or grandchild or something record and you can always hear the tres before she
my mom will sometimes be sending me those. She's like, "You should make this," and I'm just like, "I can't make them when the videos are just like that." Her name is Monique. She's like, okay, this one's like a little bit more serious, but like, she is truly my biggest inspiration filmmaking wise because she like makes shorts by herself. She just like makes full on short films by herself, and I'm like, truly, there's no excuse for me anymore. And like, she'll like show her like behind the scenes, and I'm like, I have no excuse.
That's what I've been thinking lately too. I'm like, again, industry brain where I'm like, oh, it has to take forever. Some things, yes, like you want to
Yeah.
develop them more, but I'm like, I'm just gonna make something. Like I need to make something. I recently went to go see Asco, which is a documentary on uh like this Chicano like arts group that
Yeah.
was really big in the 70s and only just now people are like kind of seeing
Hmm.
how big their influence was. And I was just like, they were just going out in their community, just doing whatever with their friends. And like maybe it wasn't appreciated then, but it's appreciated now. I'm just like, I'm gonna go make something.
No, truly.
I
Yeah, just like watching her, and I was just like, okay, I truly have no excuse anymore. Like, we live in a day and age where, it's kind of normal to see people filming everywhere. So it's like, what's stopping us really? Industry
yeah.
brain? Like, come on.
Yeah. I did also want to like make space. Like, do you have anyone? Maybe that's like a friend of yours that you're like, maybe they're not like TikTokers or influencers or whatever, but like you're like, this is my friend. They have great content, or like they're doing great work, that you want to put
Yes.
on.
I have a couple of friends who started their own like production company. It's called Shy Media.
I think I might have heard them. Whenever on TikTok I see someone's like, me and my friend start a production company, I'm like, follow,
Yeah, Shy
follow.
Media. I also met these lovely ladies from Sonder Pictures. I think they're doing amazing work. My friend, his name is Jason. He's also a really sick filmmaker.
What is, next for you for high stakes, like, or again, you as a filmmaker, just in general? Yeah, what's next?
Hopefully we can film the rest of the season because I would love to just like put that out there. I think high stakes for me is very just like a very, very, very special passion project. And then hopefully I can start, developing other projects. I have many, 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 many more ideas. But as of right now, I think I'm focusing more on high stakes, just getting the first season out, seeing where it goes. I would love for it to like blow up and just like, get a bigger budget and just like do this like quote unquote properly. But um yeah, for the most part, just filming the rest of the season. And we have some fun, exciting Episodes planned for y'all. I'm just like ready to be on set.
I mean, y'all just reached like your seed and spark goal and got greenlit for that. Is there anything for the rest of the season or for episode 2 that you can give us a sneak peek on?
Well, yes, I'd be more than happy to share my my screen if need be. This is my lead, Catherine Oregon. Yeah.
I love the sultriness of this. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like so excited, truly. I just I just love vampires and blood. I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing else to say.
Dude, that reminds me of like it's giving like when the final girl finally ends it all, she's covered in blood and she just has a cigarette.
Oh my God, have you seen like Is It Ready or Not?
Yes, yes.
I love that scene. That final scene where she's just like the house just exploded and she's like smoking the cigarette. Oh my fucking God. Yeah.
She's in her wedding dress that's all in tatters, like it's all over, and I'm like, yeah. Love when
Hmm.
it ends that way.
Yes. You truly can't get more cinematic than that.
hmm Thank you so much for sharing those stills. I'm excited. And was that like a new character, like the other actress that was in?
Yeah. She's like she just moves the story along. We're not unfortunately we will not be seeing her again. Great actress though. Shout out to Christina. Huge, huge, huge shout out. Yeah, I just wish we could have her more often, but she's unfortunately dead.
Well, oh, that's how it goes. You know, sometimes characters die.
But you know what? On that note, I'm just like thinking about this. I'm like, what's stopping us? We're in the fantasy genre. Rules
Zombies.
do not apply. Rules do not apply.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And like, I'm really excited about, this next episode. And I think a lot of people are really supportive. Again, it's just amazing watching people just do things and finding that great success. And like, it's a great story too, and it's fun. So, thank you so much for sharing that, for doing that. Honestly, thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you for having me on. Oh my God, I love to yap.
Oh no, and I love it. And I think again, I was just like, I'm glad we got each other from Dramageddon to vampire lore. Like, it was great to speak to you today. Is there anywhere people can find you online, if you where you want to be found online, where people can just follow more of your work?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram. I have two. But if you want to see more of my film stuff, it's my name, Yolo Martinez .mp4. That's like my film account. You can follow on all the silly things I get myself into. But if you want to see a more personal side of me, you can just follow me. My username is literally just my name. No Yolosaurusrex. Just my name.
Oh, Yolosaurus.
No Yolosaurus. Yeah, no, fandoms are coming back. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is gonna be niche and maybe I'm outing myself a little bit, but I've been like a part of the Yellow Jackets fandom and that's been crazy.
I haven't watched the second season, but I did watch the first season. I was like, it's I get nervous around airplanes, but like, but I watched and I was like, this is so good. It's almost also kind of Summerween. Like they're in the woods and it's like
They're
so.
in the woods, it's scary. They're just crazy, they're just cannibals. There's that. I just think I don't know, I'm just a sucker for fan edits, so truly TikTok, I'd just be watching fan edits truly.
I have a saved folder of just fan edits I like, and you will take that from me in my cold dead hands. I'm gonna keep that forever.
Oh, absolutely. When TikTok was going down, I wasn't sad because of like my followers or like the videos I had posted. No, because I didn't have time to save all of the fan edits I had liked.
So no, it couldn't have left because I needed my fan edits.
No, truly. Where else was I gonna get my Yellow Jackets X Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys fan edits? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, my favorite ones. I'm so mad I did not ask you this question, but Interview with the Vampire, have you seen it? Are you a
yes.
fan?
Well, yes, I
Because
did
me
see
too.
it. I haven't seen the newest season. I've only seen the first one that's on Netflix.
Mhm.
Um, you didn't hear this from me, but I'm thinking of pirating it. But
And
uh,
I would be like, yeah, do so because it's good. And the reason I brought that up is because one of my favorite edits, it's like a Lestat edit where he's going on his rages, and I'm like, yes, yes.
Yes. You know what? It needs to be said. Get rid of all of the Hollywood editors. Get the fan edits editing movies. Oh my God.
And you know what? That's what people don't understand. It's like the only reason like social media, like brand social media or like company social media accounts get any like like I don't know audience now is because the social media managers are low-key fan edit girlies that are like, look at this. I'm like, yes.
Well, yes, I will be sad.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of shows that I'm like now into, I've only started watching because I saw a really good fan edit, and I was like, you know what? I need to know more.
I'm gonna be so real. I only watched Call Me by Your Name because I saw that Timothy Chalamet edit.
The play date one.
Yeah, so hey, it gets people into theaters. So
Hey, I will be sad. If trailers were edited in fan edit way, I would be going to more movies.
Are you what other fandoms are you in? I mean when I was growing up I was Arctic Monkeys, emo, punk kid, like that was my fandom.
Lana Del Rey. This
Mhm.
was gonna be embarrassing, and if you know me in real life, no, you don't. I did not say this because I'm like cool and mysterious, but like Five Nights at Freddy's, um, huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Minecraft. I was a huge like Minecraft gamer. This one was very short-lived, but like I had like a very very brief EDM phase. It pops out in there. Like honestly, what that one BuzzFeed show. The Oh my God, what's that one BuzzFeed show?
Unsolved?
Yes, yes, I was a part of that fandom. Um, yeah, that's
Wait,
pretty much like the biggest one.
I gotta ask, are you a Shaniac or a Bugara? Like
Ooh, I'm a Bugara because like I also love conspiracy theories.
I'm a believer. What can I say?
Me
Like
too. Like I don't okay. I know that I'm into like the fantasy genre. Do I necessarily like believe in ghosts and stuff? To a certain extent. Like I will never go out of my way to like play a Ouija board because I'm like even if it's not real, I'm not gonna mess with it because like why would I want to put myself in a uncomfortable situation?
you're like, I know how this movie starts. I've seen this one.
I've seen this film before.
hmm with Five Nights at Freddy's, I was gonna say like another one of my favorite edits is Josh Hutcherson, edited to Slut by Taylor Swift. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be really niche, but when Security Breach came out, there was a really popular fan edit about one of the animatronics, and I think about that often.
Yeah. Have you seen Oh, I forgot her name. Why am I forgetting this queen's name? But she does ASMR as random characters, and she did it as I think it's Cheeky from like the from Five Nights at Freddy's, and it was like ASMR POV Europe Five Nights at Freddy's, and she dressed up as all the characters and is
No,
like doing your makeup. She look her up. Oh, I'll send it to you. But she
good
also
to me.
did like Lord Farquaad does your makeup.
I think I've seen that one. I think I've seen.
She did
Oh,
Freddy's.
I think did she also do Jimmy Neutron?
Yes, I love her. I love her, and she's also Mexican. I'm like, hi.
Period. You know, we need to break that stereotype. Like Mexican girls are allowed to be weird.
Weird Mexican girls rise up.
Mexican girls.
Oh no, yeah, I love her. I'm like, oh, when can I get her on the podcast? Like, oh my
No,
God.
truly.
Um, thank you so much. Like, I loved this conversation. Sometimes someone just gets it.
No, truly. When the girls get it, they get it.
They truly do. Thank you so much for this time, Yolo. It's been great. Again, any lasting words for the audience?
Um, yeah, if I taught you guys anything this episode, um, my Laura side, like just get out and do stuff. Like truly, truly, if you have an idea, just do it. Find like-minded people that are willing to help you out and just do it. Like truly, in this day and age, there's nothing that's stopping you anymore. Like there's truly no excuses. You have a phone, just like go make stuff. Like TikTok's a thing. Just like go out and do stuff. I love watching other people create. And, don't let anything stop you, truly.
The most valuable words of wisdoms, just like Nike had it right. Just do it. Like,
Literally just do it. Nothing is stopping anyone these days to make any sort of art.
all of Yolo's work is linked in the description, and you can head over to taniadoes.com/YOLO for all show notes. Make sure to watch the first episode of High Stakes. It is available now on YouTube. It's linked in the description box, and make sure to follow them so that you know when the next episode comes out. Also, make sure to follow the podcast at Interesting People Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and follow me, your host, on Instagram at Tania Does. And subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on this podcast series. The Most Interesting People on My Timeline is an independent podcast hosted and produced by yours truly, Tania Dominguez Rangel, with design support from Maida Sanchez. To support our work, consider our membership base at Buy Me a Coffee, and if you've got the big bucks, we are open to ad slots as well, so we can keep this podcast going and introduce y'all to more interesting people. Thank you to our current supporter, aka my mother, for making this podcast possible. In our next episode, I'll introduce you to a scholar working at the intersection of horror and Latinx studies. Stay connected, stay creating beautiful things, and I'll catch y'all in the next episode.